Welcome to the Norris Group Real Estate Podcast, a show committed to bringing you insights from thought leaders shaping the real estate industry. In each episode, we'll dive into conversations with industry experts and local insiders, all aimed at helping you thrive in an ever-changing real estate market, continuing the legacy that Bruce Norris created, sharing valuable knowledge, and empowering you on your real estate journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a newcomer, this is your go-to source for insider tips, market trends, and success strategies. Here's your host, Craig Evans.
Hey, welcome back to part 2 with Bill Allen. Let's get started. So when we're looking at seven figure, would you say that seven figure is a company, or do you see it more as a community?
Yeah, definitely a community. So so the kind of story with that goes, so I was a student, right? For a couple years. I was a paying member for 2 years. Then I became a coach for the program. So Justin asked me to coach, and then I became the COO. And when I became the COO of Seven Figure Flipping for Justin, I hired this guy, Nate Johnson, in Blackjack Real Estate to be my COO. So He was running the real estate company, and I went to run the education company with Justin. And I put systems and process in place, started hiring a sales team and things like that, and just helping him. I really helped with the fulfillment events, things like that, like putting a lot more structure. He always did all the front end marketing, running the podcast, all that stuff. And then in July 2019, I bought the company from him. So I didn't start the company. I'm not the founder. I am the owner. I do run it. I just hired a CEO for the company now. And so I'm stepping out to do, we have this project with a TV show called Kids Who Flip coming up with Warner Brothers. And so I stepped out to go build the brand a little bit more, do the TV show. Really, I see myself as like the head recruiter of the community. Like I have to go out there and I have to put my values on display, like my integrity, have these kind of conversations to say, like, come see what we're doing inside of this community. But 100%, I look at it as a community. We actually just launched a really cool program, alumni program, because, people don't stay in these like communities forever. They're paying, between $15,000 and $25,000 a year. I don't have any like expectation that somebody's going to do that for 30 years. They're going to get what they need, and they're going to kind of grow, and they'll get to a point where they're like, I don't know, like I'm giving way more than I feel like I'm getting from this community now. That happened to me. I wanted to become a coach. I wanted to, get more involved. And so we just launched this alumni program. I mean, you mentioned Georgia Tech. Like a big part of that, like me creating that was that exact like idea and concept. Like when you go to college and you graduate, in the case of Georgia, I mean, people don't even graduate from there and they just fight over the fact that they're like Georgia Bulldogs, And so, but they're so intense about it that they will like get into a fight. Like they will actually punch somebody else who is a Georgia Tech fan, possibly, And we're easy to punch because we're nerds. So like, but like when you graduate from college, like you wear the gear. Like, look at this right here. Like I got a Georgia Tech sweatshirt on the floor of my office. Like I wear it all the time, and I'm 44.
Well,
I'm like 21 years out.
You guys just won your first football game in the last several years too. So.
That's right. That was a big game. That's the first time we beat Florida State in probably 80 years. Yeah.
That's right.
But, and we had to go to Dublin to do it. But, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And so we get to a point where you leave a community like that and you're like, man, I feel kind of like cast away. I kind of feel like the leaders, they don't talk to me anymore. We used to be best friends, and now because I'm not paying my bill, I don't feel good anymore. And we just stopped talking about it. Like we kind of erase it from our story. And so we launched this alumni group because I want people to like forever wave the flag of I was there one time. Like this was a part of my journey. This is a community, and you're not cast away from it. So people can graduate into the community now. So after 4 years inside the program, they can decide whether they want to stay an active member inside of the community or they want to become alumni and join the alumni group. And I'm doing an alumni event in just 2 weeks here at my office where we're going to come back for 2 days to get together and just kind of brainstorm and mastermind together. Because everybody's doing different stuff. They started like software businesses and gone into apartments and gone in all these different directions now, but they're all high-level business owners that can come back together and almost like an alumni reunion, like homecoming. And so that was important to me. So yeah, it's definitely a community. We really care about our people. Success is the number one thing. We're not the best known, which is a big problem. And I hope to fix that with the TV show that we're launching and a lot of other things that we do. But I definitely think we've built the best. I think the success rate, a lot of the things that we try to do for our people, we spend a lot of time and money on the product, a lot more than we do on the front end advertising and marketing, which I know is not the best thing that we can do as a business, but it feels good to me.
What would you say is the biggest hurdle that you've had to overcome?
Yeah. Well, the first one, I'd say there's two big in every business. I feel like there's something that kind of, if you ever study the hero's journey, there's like these, the hero of the story is you. So in your life, when you're listening to this podcast, there's something there's like a big goal and a big dream that you have. And something that you're like, it's in the back of your head. It's like pulling you. There's this tap on the shoulder. It's like, go do this thing. And you're like, no, I can't. There's this refusal of the call. So that first step is like you refuse the call to adventure, which is what you get. And then you're in the like ordinary world. And in the hero's journey, there's this supernatural world that's under the surface. Like the second you say yes to that thing and you get around, you like break through, and usually you have to find a guide. Like you find a guide and a mentor on that journey that pulls you into the supernatural world. I feel like there's two very distinct times in my life where that's happened. Number one was Justin's podcast. Like that was me going, all right, like I'm willing to accept the fact that I might not know everything about this, even though I flipped two houses. I mean, I flipped two houses. I thought it was a big deal. Like I showed up thinking I was a big deal. I was the smallest business. I didn't even have a business. I mean, it was a joke. Everybody else doing way more than me. And so I went into this supernatural world where all these people were like, they were like going to make $1 million or multiple $1 million a year. I'd never been around those kind of people. But then there's like these tests and trials along the way. So the number one, I kind of mentioned it already, was hiring someone. Like that was so scary for me that I was like, I don't know if this is the right path. Like, I don't know that this is right. But I mean, I was paying this guy $25,000 a year. And Andy told me, I basically turned into Daniel-san and he was Mr. Miyagi. If he was like, paint the fence, I was like, no problem, dude. Where's the paintbrush? If he was like, wax the floor, I was like, done. And so if he said hire somebody, I just finally said, all right, I'm just going to do what he says. And I did that. I did that for a year and it turned out really, really well for me. Right. And so many times now in 2024, I feel like people are paying money or they're doing something with someone, but they're only listening to like 50% of it. Yep. Or 30% of it or 80% of it. They're like watching a bunch of other YouTube videos or other podcasts and they're like, oh, but this person said this. And then I read this book. It's like, we're drowning in information and just starving for wisdom. So it's like, find that one person that you connect with that has the life that you want and the ethos that you want, and just like go all in on their strategy. And so I did that. It was very helpful. And hiring was the thing in that business. The second piece, and that was like the test. Like that was my test and trial to come out with, which they say in the hero's journey, you return with the elixir. Like you figure it out, like you've got it sorted out now, and you come back to the ordinary world with the solution to this problem, and you want to go share it with everyone else. And so the second piece was when I bought Seven Figure Flipping in 2019. You mentioned the podcast. Like I'm a behind the scenes guy. Like I'm the best number 2 guy on the planet, I think. I'm not a forward facing podcasting, speaking from stage marketer. My brain works differently. I'm a closet introvert. Like you'll see me at an event for 3 days and I will be talking to everyone. Like if you come to the event that in California, like I will be talking to you nonstop. Like I'll be on stage and I will go back to my room and I'll want to sleep for 2 days straight. But like I'll turn myself inside out for that event. And but it's not natural. It's not natural for who I am. And so I'd much rather be like a little bit like more in the dungeon with a spreadsheet, like looking at math problems and equations and figuring out how to maximize the profitability of a company. And so, what I had to do was I had to figure out how to speak from stage. I had to figure out how to communicate a message. I had to figure out how to sell. I never wanted to sell things from stage. I never wanted to push my products. I didn't want to do the podcast. I tried to give the podcast away when I bought the company to another guy who was doing podcasts. I was like, can you just do mine too? And he was like, yeah, yours is a lot bigger than mine. I would definitely do that. And I was like, this is probably a bad idea. And so, I had to take that leap without knowing how it would feel or how I would do. And just little by little over time, you get better and better and better. And I mean, a couple of years ago, I got to speak in front of 5,000 people at a conference. and now we're getting ready to film a TV show for Warner Brothers. Like and I'm still insanely uncomfortable. Like I am not looking forward to next month. I kind of am, and I'm mostly not. Like when it's this month. We start filming like 2 weeks, and there's 6 weeks of filming where I travel around the country with 6 kids to film them flipping houses. They're under 18 flipping houses. Like it will revolutionize the world if this show takes off and these kids get celebrated and other kids and families realize that there's co-viewing TV. There's wholesome TV available. There are really incredible people doing incredible things out there. And if this show goes big, like I am going to be even more uncomfortable because somebody's going to stop me in the grocery store here locally and be like, oh, I saw you on TV. Like, we're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm just awkward in that moment. I don't know what to say to them. Like, do I say, yeah, thanks for watching? Like, so like, this is another leap there. Everything that you want is on the other side of this uncomfort zone that you sit in. And so there's been many moments in my life, I think. I can't just say there's this one, but I mean, you name it, going to flight school, going to college, like, you know, showing up in Atlanta, not knowing anybody, you know, that was 12 hours from my house in Maryland. Like, you know, all these things, there's new experiences. And what's cool about it is if you start saying yes to these things, if you start taking these leaps, it gets easier. Like, you know, you start building some calluses around them. It gets a lot easier for the back end of it. So hopefully I answered your question.
You did. So there's a couple of things I wanted to ask you, and one I forgot to ask you. Tell me about the 500K challenge.
Oh yeah. So I think the reason why I was successful in real estate is because I figured out how to raise money. It's like that's the thing that you need the most. We were able to buy the houses the other people couldn't. So the cool thing about being a wholesaler, the wholesaling problem that we mentioned earlier is like, yeah, but they don't have the money to buy the house. They can't close on it. They can't do all that stuff. It's really kind of could be a scam, you know? And so we always had the ability to close on the properties, you know? And so I was able to raise money. Private money has really helped me. And in 2020, the challenges were big. This guy, Pedro Adeo, good friend of mine now, but he was like on all over the internet doing these challenges with all these people. And I started studying his stuff and I was like, I got to build a challenge. Like, I got to figure this out. And this was 4 or 5 years ago. And I love talking about money. And so I was mapping out all these different challenges on my whiteboard. And then I was like, it was like a download from God almost. Like, it was just like, boom, like money. Like, I could talk about this every day for months. And I just started writing out like every day, this is what I would talk about. And just like mapped out this challenge. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to start filming this. Like, this will be my challenge. And so, and Russell Brunson, I was at an event, Funnel Hacking Live, and he was like, go live for 30 days on your phone. And then you'll find your voice. Like, you'll get better at public speaking. You'll figure out who's listening and what's things to talk about. You'll get more comfortable on camera. And this was right about the time I bought the company. And it was the end of it was February 2020. And I was like, I got to figure this out. So I did that. And then I was like, dude, this is what we could do for the challenge. Like, we'll have people go live on social media talking about their business because nobody knows about their business, their real estate business. And so it kind of like, I added homework assignments and missions, put an aviation theme to it. And we launched the 500K challenge. So it's like a mission to go raise 500,000 or more of private money in 30 days. We've had people raise, I mean, I can't do a lot of income claims legally, right? But millions of dollars, you know? And so like we had some guy message me and he's like, dude, I just raised like $6 million. And so I was like, what? He's like, yeah, he was raising money for apartments. And I've got people that message me that, you know, are raising money for like venture capital type firms and stuff that are finding this somehow. It's not just only real estate.
Yep.
And so it's just been cool to see that thing kind of grow and come to light. And honestly, if I could pick one thing that I would talk about with people or do a workshop on, it would be money. I love talking about money and raising money. And it's, you know, there's so many different things that you can do with it. And it really talks to everyone, the landlord, the wholesaler, the flipper, the Airbnb, short-term rental, mid-term rentals, like apartment investors, everyone, developers, you know, everybody needs to, and it's a great benefit because the people that are investing with you make a great return. Like they want these opportunities that we have. There's just so much like mental junk that comes around raising money. People think they're asking for money. You're not asking for money.
Yep.
Like no way. You're providing a massive opportunity. If anything, they're just going to thank you
You
and
know,
not
with
want
our
their money back once you use it. You know?
exactly. With our, I've got a private equity firm, and so many people, even though there's a lot of people that work for me that don't want any part of the capital raise, and I love that portion of it. Because I love those conversations, but
yeah, everybody's. What I've noticed is there are money people that like love talking about money, and there's other people that makes them so uncomfortable. But they fit in the model somewhere else. Like what I would say to everybody listening is figure out where you fit, in the real estate system, and then strengthen your strengths and hire out your weaknesses.
Yep.
That's the biggest piece of advice that I could give is you don't have to be the best at everything. That's what I didn't understand from the beginning.
Yep. Well, listen, I know we're wrapping up on time. There's a couple of things I want to jump into. So let's talk about some events. So we've got our I Survive Real Estate event coming up. Very special charity that's worked with us, and we've worked with them for years. We got Make-A-Wish. I know that holds a special meaning for you and your family as well. Can you share a little bit with that with us?
Yeah. My middle son, his name's James Allen. When James was, we were 20 weeks pregnant with James, we found out that he had some difficulties. So he's got a chromosome anomaly. So for anybody that has a kid like this or knows anything like it, it's a mosaic ring 13 chromosome anomaly. So it'll mean nothing to 99.9% of you, but there's somebody who's like, oh, my kid has this deletion or this. And so we're in a very unique world with this chromosome anomaly where he's a special needs kid. If you met him, he looks totally normal, like you would, but he doesn't really talk that much. He didn't eat for 3.5 years. We fed him through a feeding tube, a G tube, an NG tube. And he's had 5 open heart surgeries and 6 heart catheters right now. And 4 of those open heart surgeries were in the first 6 months he was alive. If he was born 20 years ago, he never would have made it at all. But that's really it. Like heart defects, that's it. With a lot of chromosome anomalies, there's all kinds of other stuff. So, Down syndrome is a very, it's a chromosome anomaly for Down syndrome. And so there's a lot of things that come with that. And we've been blessed that it was his heart surgery and he's just slower to talk. You can't really understand most of what he says. His little brother can speak his language almost fluently. So if we don't know what he's saying, we'll ask Lucas. Lucas, what is James saying? He's like, oh, he wants to go to the library. Like, okay, cool. And we understand probably 20 or 30% of what he says. So James has been just amazing. And we had a friend reach out to us after his 4th surgery and was like, you guys should apply for Make-A-Wish. Like they have some really cool opportunities for these kids. And I was like, what would we do? Like, I feel like we would be a burden on them. Like I'm doing well financially. I can, if we want to go to Disney, we can just go to Disney. I don't want to suck money out of the group, the charity, all this stuff. And they were like, you don't understand. Like you cannot get this experience and he'll remember this forever. So we had a trip planned in 2021 for James. And so at the beginning of 2020, we got it all lined up. It was, I forget when it was scheduled, but sure enough, COVID happened and it shut down all, Give Kids the World is a area down in Orlando that's owned by Make-A-Wish.
Yep.
And it's a village. And then they have all this, partnerships with Universal and Disney and SeaWorld and Legoland. And so they do all these Make-A-Wish trips down there. And so we were so excited to go because we're big Disney people and we love going to Disney World at that time specifically. And so it kind of just turned off and we're like, oh man, that stinks. And so recently, about a year ago, so I think it was a year ago now, I think it was September last year, we actually got to fulfill his Make-A-Wish trip. And it was the most special thing on the planet. Like when people say that you cannot do the things that you can do with the Make-A-Wish button, they're right. Like we've done VIP tours at Disney and Universal. We have done all kinds of stuff, but there were things that he got to do that I've never seen in my life. Like one example, my wife and I were just bawling, like crying so hard. We were at Chef Mickey's, which we love, this restaurant at the Contemporary Hotel, the hotel where the monorail goes through.
Oh yeah.
And Minnie Mouse is going around to all of the kids, and he loves Minnie Mouse. My son loves all the princesses. He doesn't really care about the princes or Mickey Mouse, any other guy. He loves all the princesses, loves them. And Minnie Mouse comes around and she's like talking to all the kids and giving them hugs. And then she just saw James and walked up to him and gave him like, it was like a 5-minute hug, like an uncomfortable amount of time with him. And then and my wife, we just both started crying. Like, it was just like, it was like she knew that this boy needed her, and the whole world shut down. It was gone. It was just the two of them. It was the most incredible thing. They gave my wife a hug. She's crying. I start crying. I was like, this is just so awesome. So it was just I mean, he loves the characters, front of the line. It was an experience like we'll never forget. So, and they like, don't even worry about, like, the cost is like a small thing compared to what happens. And this is just one person's, experience. Imagine this over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that get to experience this. Because we were in the village having lunch with these kids, and you don't know what any of these kids are going through. You don't know if they're going to live, to see their next birthday. And but the smile on their face when they're eating 24/7 ice cream at the village is big. And the people that are there volunteering, it was just, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Imagine like Disney combined with Disney Part 2, like the hospitality. I can't even describe it. So I am a massive supporter. It's incredible what they do. And we can't go on trips like that, and these families can't go on trips like that without the donations of others and the kind of event that you guys are putting on. So we've personally experienced this, and I can tell you right now, Make-A-Wish is one of the best organizations that I've ever seen in my life.
Well, we're very, very excited. We're making big pushes to grow this event every year. I'm pushing our team to have big goals and big visions for what can we do as a community for organizations like Make-A-Wish. So honestly, until our team had told me about you and your family being a part of this, I didn't realize how big of an impact this event would have on you and you would have on this event because of the personal aspect that it comes to for you guys. So that's really cool. I appreciate you sharing that story, because sometimes people don't want to talk about their personal experiences. It's their private stuff. So I'm grateful for you sharing that. So listen, before we go, I know you've got an event coming up as well, Flip Hacking Live. I know Bruce spoke at your event in San Diego, I think it was last year.
Yeah.
So tell me about it this year. When is it? What's different this year? How can our audience participate? Walk me through that process.
It's October 10th, 11th, and 12th. So it's just like a couple weeks before your guys' event. It is, it's virtual. So this year is a little bit different. It's a virtual experience. We did this in 2020 as well. It's incredible. We can put people in breakout sessions. We can do like one-on-one with folks. We can do all kinds of really cool things. And it's not like somebody just talking at you. It really is an immersive experience. I'm in a studio. There's, screens. I can see everybody's face. You can throw up like emojis on the back wall that you can see going behind me. It's really cool stuff that we get to do. We're actually like asking questions, filling out like an analysis of each investor. And I'm teaching people how to build like a net worth, like not just flipping and wholesaling, but how to take what I know in flipping and wholesaling and what I've done on the back end, like having a really hefty net worth and be able to handle a market shift and change because of all the assets that I own. How do you take that knowledge and then turn it into assets? Because I think either people are flipping and they're just like or wholesaling or doing something active, and they're kind of on a hamster wheel. They just created another job for themselves. It just happens to be in real estate. And then you got other people that are just buying and holding all the time and don't have enough active income to support that. I've been in both seats, and now I'm in this like hybrid seat where I'm doing both. Usually I'm flipping a couple houses and keeping one, or flipping a couple houses and putting my money into an apartment. And so we're teaching more of something we've never taught before, which is how to build your net worth. We're calling it the 10K way. So how do you get $10,000 a month in passive income inside of a few years? And so building out the map for that. So that's what we're doing. It's different because it's virtual, so you can attend from anywhere. You don't have to pay for a flight, a hotel, all that stuff. And it's only, I think it's $100, like $97 a ticket. So they can go to fliphackinglive.com. So fliphackinglive.com and check it out.
Awesome. Well, Bill, man, listen, I have sucked up a lot of your time, and I am so grateful for you being on with us. Really look forward to having you with us in October for I Survive Real Estate, having you as one of the panelists there. and we're working on having a great lineup. But I'm very grateful that you said yes and committed your time. So
Absolutely. I'm a little bit nervous sitting next to Bruce or around Bruce or on the same stage as Bruce, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm honored, like legitimately honored. I've been observing your community and the Norris Group from the distance for many years, and to be asked to do something like this is really special. And to have my wife in the audience too will be great, especially with the charity that we're supporting this year. I don't think it's by chance that this was the year that I'm coming. So,
well, and listen, you're saying you're nervous sitting next to Bruce. Remember, I've always been the guy on the panel. Now I got to be the one leading that panel and questioning Bruce. And so, oh man. Again, Bill, listen, I really appreciate your time. I can't wait to see you guys in October. Listen to all of our audience. We're so thankful for you being on today, listening to Bill. We've got a lot of other great people coming up as we're heading into I Survive Real Estate. Really look forward to seeing you guys there at the event, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bill, thank you.
You're welcome. See you.
For more information on hard money loans, trust deed investing, and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For more information on passive investing through the DBL Capital Real Estate Investment Fund, please visit dblcapital.com.
The Norris Group originates and services loans in California and Florida under the California DRE license 01219911, Florida Mortgage Lender license 1577, and NMLS license 1623669. For more information on hard money lending, go to thenorrisgroup.com and click the hard money tab.